Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the closing bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
The S&P 500, guys, 286 names higher in the S&P 500 today. Scarlett, 213 to the downside.
All right, let's take a look at the IMAP. A pretty mixed day, although there are more advancers than decliners when you look at the industry groups. Energy stocks gaining 1.7%. They're the best performers, followed by materials and tech, each gaining more than 1%. Your laggards are healthcare, and that's really on the back of Centene plunging, and utilities as well as financials, which had gotten a boost in recent days.
All right, guys, let's go to some outperformance that we've seen. I want to go to actually an index, the S&P Global Clean Energy Transition Index. I wanted to pull that up because that is up about 1.7% higher today after U.S. excise tax seen as an existential threat to the solar and wind industry was stripped from the Senate GOP tax mega bill that passed the chamber in that tie-breaking vote yesterday. A Goldman Sachs index of renewables, by the way, trading at a fresh 2021 high. Renewable stocks around the globe we've seen rally. Also, because we had another story on the Bloomberg that just talked about these green-related stocks, despite being so much under pressure by the Trump administration, enjoying their best quarter in almost half a decade. So I just wanted to pull that out. We saw a bunch of names in this sector higher. In fact, First Solar, let's go to that one, up 4.6% at the close. It was up as much as about 9.5% earlier in the session. It's a top gainer in the S&P 500. So again, having to do with that Senate budget bill that passed through and some of that excise tax, as we said, pulled back. Yeah, we saw those names going higher. Sorry, I'm really tired today.
Carol's having a tough day.
I'm having a tough day.
But the good news, Romaine, this is her last day in the office this week.
You guys are going to have to carry the mantle tomorrow. Tesla, let's go to Tesla, up 5%, a top gainer in the NASDAQ 100, the second top gainer in the NASDAQ 100, again, up about 5%. Carmaker posted a less drastic decline in vehicle sales than most pessimistic analysts feared. It was down 13% from a year earlier, but some had thought it could be down maybe more than 20%. So, kind of a sigh of relief for those Tesla folks. All right. Take it away.
All right. I am looking at the losers, and Tesla's not one of them, even though those deliveries really massively missed what people have been expecting. So anyway, Centene is, I think, the big story. I had a huge argument with my open interest co-host, Katie Greifeld, this morning. I wanted to do this story, and she was like, who's heard of Centene? Well, it's a $28 billion insurer that has 28 million customers. It's gotten rocked because of that big, beautiful bill. Most of Centene's business is Medicare or ACA, and that obviously being scaled back, and this is going to result in earnings headwinds of as much as $1.8 billion. A lot of analysts, or at least two that I saw this morning, cutting their view on the health insurer, maybe more now that we're at the close.
It really goes to the idea that these health insurance companies have been so consistent with being able to project out what their financials look like that when they can't, this is the kind of reaction they get.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're bringing down a lot of other healthcare companies with them. Molina, I haven't pulled these up, but Molina, Elevance, Oscar Health are all big losers today. I want to move on to Intel because the chip maker is off at the close after Reuters reported that the CEO, Lip Bhutan, is exploring a potential strategy shift in the foundry business that would entail no longer making or marketing certain chip making technologies to external customers. Reuters citing people familiar there. We haven't independently confirmed it, but you can definitely see that the shares are off 4.25%. And then I think Adobe is an interesting loser today because of a big winner, right? Figma is expected to be one of the biggest IPOs this year. It almost got sold for $20 billion a couple of years ago. So it's a software design startup. It only has like less than 250 million in revenue a quarter, so I guess $1 billion a year. 20 times sales seems, I guess, okay for this kind of what I'm told is a very sticky software service that could really impinge on Adobe and compete with that company. And that's why Adobe is having a tough day in the market today, down 3.5%.
All right, a lot of activity in the equity market today, but even more activity when it comes to bonds. Treasury yields, bear steepening on the day. As you see the mismatch there between what we see on the shorter end of the curve and the longer end of the curve. Yields higher on your 2-year by only about a basis points, but up about 4 to 5 basis points when you go from 10 to the 30-year levels. We should point out some of this is related to some of the fiscal issues going on here in the U.S. and some of this, of course, a bit of a rollover from what transpired over in the U.K. earlier today with some concerns about the fiscal situation in the U.K. and whether their equivalent of the Treasury Secretary, Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, will keep her job.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.